in celebration of Dydd Dewi Sant, as I like to call it.
Sorry.
That's okay. I've brought along with me 5 albums which really celebrate and demonstrate the breadth and hard work that goes on in the Welsh music scene. So to start with, I mean, what I would say is that if you look at the family tree of Welsh and Cardiff bands, there's a lot of crossover and it's a big kind of sprawling spider diagram, and people should definitely explore all of those strands. But to start with...
I feel like we should have hit parade music in at number 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can add that on later.
To start with, from the brilliant Welsh label Sign, who is a great starting point. You know, anything on their catalogue is a really good starting point for anyone interested in Welsh language music. We have the granddaddy of you know, all the bands that cite him as influences, people like Gorkys, Super Furry Animals, so on and so forth. Mike Stevens, and I mean, he was kind of hailed as the Welsh Bob Dylan, and he is legendary. He's amazing. I mean, I think most people who know Mike Stevens have a Mike Stevens story, because he's got some legendary tales. I'm not sure I can really tell some of the ones I know on camera. No, I can't. I definitely can't tell you about the time. No, I can't tell you about that. So this set, a lot of his back catalogue was unavailable. You know, his kind of classic albums being small pressings and so forth, out of print on vinyl, and might not have made the transition to CD. But the particular one, this is a 6-disc collection, Gwymon, which came out in 1972, and every single track on there is just amazing. And if you listen to some Mike Stevens, especially from the kind of 70s into early 80s period, you'll be able to see the influence that his music has had on you know, more contemporary artists. So an album by him is absolutely essential. Really, I could have chosen anything associated with Gorkys Zygotic Monkey, because I mean, prolific isn't the word, well, it is the word. And, you know, that applies to Gorkys Zygotic Monkey, and also to Euros Childs, who was a member of Gorkys Zygotic Monkey. And then you also have Richard James, who has less output since Gorkys, but all of his are worth checking out as well. This particular album is Boyd Time, which I have to say in the voice that they say it when they introduce the album, which goes like this: Boyd Time, because that's how they introduce the album, and it's fantastic. I put this on the other day after having not listened to Gorkys for very long. I used to listen to them absolutely loads and loads and loads in the mid-90s and for years.
Was that a result of us calling you? Was that a result of us calling you?
No, I've got a really good friend from Wigan who is the biggest fan of Welsh music that you'll come across. She's born and bred Wigan. She just loves Super Furry Animals, and because of her love of Welsh music, I used to bump into her at gigs, so she'd been at anything that Super Furry Animals did. She also loves Kate LeBon and Gorkys, but she'd never actually heard this. So she was staying with me the other week. She'd come down for Super Furry Animals' beer brewing event. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah. So she came down for that, because anything Super Furry, she's there. That's guaranteed, but she's lovely. And yeah, she'd never heard this album by Gorkys because it's long out of print. That's the unfortunate thing. Now, she'd gotten into Euros Childs music, which is readily available. But yeah, unfortunately, the entire back catalogue, I mean, you can pick them up secondhand, especially in Wales and online, I'm sure. But the early albums and releases from Gorkys were on a label called Angst. And yeah, she'd never heard it, so I put it on, and it just reminded me. I mean, even at the time it was mad, but having not heard it for so long, they were so young when they made this album, you know, like kind of teenagers, and it's one of the best constructed albums in terms of, you know, how it's pieced together. I bet there was hardly any budget for it at all. They're mad and creative as it gets, yet, you know, it sounds like something that people made in the 70s, but it was made by teenagers in West Wales, and I think it just stands up as being, I think in 30, 40 years time, people will be looking back at this album and just reissuing it and just banging on about how influential it was, because it's an amazing album, as is anything from any of the members and people involved. Now these guys, Llwybr Llaethog, which is Welsh for Milky Way. Again, like same with Gorkys, John Peel used to play both of these bands and give loads of support to these bands. So, the classic one of hiding underneath the covers and writing down names in a notebook, and that's where I came across bands like Llwybr Llaethog and Gorkys. They've been going for absolutely years, and the Welsh language is obviously very intrinsic to their music as well. On here, it's got the amazing tune Bethesda, which is just amazing. If you're into anything kind of like slightly dance orientated, a bit hip hop, a bit trip hop, a bit very much dub as well, a lot of stuff going on. And the Super Furry Animals remix as well, so a good crossover thing there. They're still going now. Just released an album last year. I think they'll be releasing albums up until they're, in Zimmer frames, and we'll still have them in for installs, and love their records. But that's John and Kevs from Llwybr Llaethog, who are great dub reggae Welsh language mishmash, and they're brilliant. And they've also worked with people like Gwenno as well, another Welsh language brilliant artist there. Again, like with the Gorkys thing, I mean, you got someone like Cian Kieran from Super Furry Animals. Now I could actually have picked any of Super Furry Animals albums, any of the side projects, and they're all worthy. But there's something about what Cian Kieran, the kind of keys and sampley guy from Super Furries, has done. His second album here, They Are Nothing Without Us, and it's an album that gives me a lot of hope, really, because musically it's spectacular. I wouldn't be here talking about it if it wasn't musically amazing, because it is. All kind of scuzzy fuzzy guitars, great lyrics, great tunes. But the lyrical content of them isn't shy, and he's very political, and that gives me joy, because I think, I don't know, everyone likes a pretty tune and everything, but we definitely need artists to, with a voice to say stuff, and people who, document what is going on in, the bigger issues, instead of, my girlfriend left me. That's all brilliant, and, everyone loves a love song, but we should definitely celebrate people who have opinions and have voices and want to change things through the art that they make, and Cian's definitely one of those, and I love that album. And then finally, we have a band called Islet, or Islet. It's Islet, but there's often a lot of debate over how to pronounce the band's name. A mishmash of kind of art college type people and musical type people who've been going for years now, and probably less than 5 years, I'd say. Been in previous bands, all of kind of cross paths in other bands. But this is their second album, which is released by The Movement. It's on the Shape label, which is also the label that the band run, and the Shape label and Islet just basically bring so much to Cardiff, bring so much to the Welsh music scene and further afield. They put out a lot of great music. Anything they put out is driven from the passion of loving what they do, totally non-commercial. They release beautiful vinyl, they do all the design themselves, and they're people who do things for the right reasons. And yeah, the Shape label put on gigs. Basically an entire industry in themselves in what they do, and I don't know where they get the time from. And as well as doing the label, also being an amazing band, kind of trippy psychedelic wigged out craziness, which still sounds listenable. But they're just really, really great people, and to kind of, be part of the process, selling music, sharing music that they make to people, and you're just very, very, very kind of impressed by the whole ethos of everything Shape do.
Yeah, is there more of a DIY ethic to this then?
Well, it is. I mean, I know them as individuals, and everything that they do is so sincere. I can't really ever see them, kind of going down signing to a major label or having major label distribution for their company, because everything about them is very DIY, but without being contrived about being DIY. They are DIY because they live and breathe it, not because it's an aesthetic they want to aspire to. And very commendable, and any release on their label is going to challenge your ears.
So, desert island this time. You've got to go to the desert island. What will you take with you to remind you of Wales?
Object or song or...
Well, which of these?
Which of these?
Only one.
It would have to be this one. It would be Boy Time. It would, because I do enjoy a good sing-along to it. And quite frankly, Miss Trudy on here is just one of the best all-time songs in the world ever.